velocity banking. Do you really understand it? Is it for everyone? I could argue that. Now, not every single product is for every single person. I get that. So, velocity banking. The whole idea of it is like we are conditioned, and we are conditioned to do things a certain way. Be a good steward of your money and store that dollars in a checking account and extra money that you have. Isn't it funny? I'm gonna say something on that. Here's what we're conditioned to do. And maybe this is an aha moment for some of you. We are so conditioned to try to make 10, 15, 20% interest, which we know most people don't, 8 to 12% interest on the leftover dollars in our life. Right? I gotta pay all my bills. And then okay, I guess I can put $100 over here in this investment or $1,000, depending on what you make, whatever. Like your leftover money, you're trying to make all this extra investment dollars on. Meanwhile, 90% of your money, or whatever it is, 80% of your money is just flowing through an account that does nothing for you. What if you could flip the script? What if you could make 4% of interest on 90% of the dollars? Wait a second. So do you want to make 10, 12% on 10% of your money or 4% on 90% of your money? Which one produces more fruit? You want an apple orchard that has one tree, but man, that apple is crushing out apples. That tree is the most fruitful tree ever created. I get 1,000 apples a year off that tree. Or do you want an apple orchard that has 1,000 trees on it that gives you 10 apples? Want 1,000 apples or you want 10,000 apples? See where I'm going with that? So the checking account. Money goes into it, spend it. Money goes into it, spend it. It doesn't make sense to me. Velocity banking. You're storing dollars in a line of credit. What does that even mean? Guys, this is what makes sense when you understand it. The way the interest itself is calculated, like this is the heart of it. And maybe one day we could do like a breakdown of the math, but for you guys that need to see the math. It's based on what's called the average daily balance. So at the core of velocity banking, like get yourself a HELOC or a personal line of credit. I mean, even better, get yourself a credit card. Use it the right way. Money Max account, if is going to help you not be an idiot about it. But if you're storing all your money in a line of credit of some sort, and the way they charge interest is based on the average daily balance. I'm going to make the math real easy. Let's pretend you're putting all your income into this line of credit like you would a checking account. And you make $10,000 a month, right? I don't know, make $5,000 a month. Doesn't really matter. And all this money's going in. And I'm going to make the math super, like, not relevant because I'm just proving a point. And you've paid no expenses on that line of credit yet. Now, I know by theory that, well, how do you do that? Well, if you kept putting money in your checking account, the balance would rise, right? And you weren't spending any money, it would rise. Just follow along with me here, everybody. You're putting all your money into your line of credit as a payment because that's what it is. You make 5 grand a month. And make the math easy. You haven't spent any money on it yet. So July 25th, the balance is negative $5,000. Like the line of credit owes you 5,000 because you overpaid. Like I know you're like, well, no, they're just going to send you back the money. Like I'm just trying to make the math. Negative 5 grand. I'm sorry, they owe you 5 grand because you just put all your money into it, right? And then on the last day of the month, you spend all your money on your expenses. It's 4,500 bucks. What is the average daily balance, or at least how it's figured out, on the interest charged for that month? I'll give you a hint. Average daily balance. Average daily balance. So, by theory, you borrowed $4,500 to pay your expenses that month, correct? Is everyone following me? I'm not good at math. What would the average daily balance probably be on something like that? If the last day of the month is where you spent all your money? Almost nothing is the truth, right? Now, some ways that it's figured out, like I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but like it's actually on a daily calculation, and but if it's daily negative every month, every day from the, I say average daily balance because that's easy to understand. Okay, so that's making it extreme. Now let's pretend you had $100,000 balance on this line of credit. You're putting all your income into it, which is 5 grand. You're spending 4,500 out of it, which means at the end of the month, 100,000 minus 5 is 95, plus 4,500 is 99,500, right? You probably want to get charged interest if you work out the math the right way on 97,000 or whatever the average, right? So wouldn't it be fair to say that you borrowed $2,000 of the bank's money interest free? 100%. Now, times that by 5 years. Every month you're doing the same thing. Every month your balance is actually going down. Every month. Now, take it a step further. You use another line of credit card, to pay all your expenses. There's a float period of 30 days on that as well. So definitely that first month, like your average daily balance is 95 grand. Congratulations. Even though you borrowed 99,000. The next month, the balance is lower. The next month, you float it again. Like, why you need a system. Money Max Account's the best in the world to do it. The leftover money after all the expenses is what's paying down the principal. Correct. And people get mad at me when I say this, but if you truly understand velocity banking, you understand what I'm about to say. If you do this the right way, you will never, quote me on that, have a minimum payment due on your line of credit unless you lose your job or have no source of income. Then you will. Brian, what do you mean? Well, we're going to treat this line of credit like a checking account because it's better than your checking account if used properly. But it's not a checking account. Okay. So when money hits your line of credit, if you're sending all your money into the line of credit, paying your expenses, next time you get paid, you do the same thing. Next time you get paid, you do the same thing. Next time you get paid, you do the same thing. Since it's not a checking account, but it's actually a line of credit, a credit line, why do I say you'll never have a minimum payment due? If money is flowing into this line of credit, the income, the bank that owns that line of credit on you has to recognize that money coming in. They have to recognize it as a payment against the line. There's no other solution. So if you always have money flowing in, you're always making a payment. Like that's what it is. It's a payment to the line, payment to the line, payment to the line, payment to the line. I just did it this morning. But my point is, guys, money going in has to be recognized as a payment. Has to. Now you can classify it as a principal only or against the minimum payment. That's your choice. But my point is, money flowing in will be recognized as a payment, not a deposit. Okay. Revolving lines of credit, money goes in, money goes out, money goes in, money goes out. The money coming in is a payment. That's the whole point of what velocity banking really is. To me, way better than a checking account. The money's working for you immediately when you put it in there. Now, take it a step further. Should also have an infinite banking type life insurance product. Every single person. Ah, Brian, but I'm not healthy. Okay, don't get it on you. Ah, Brian, I'm too old. Okay, let's look at that. Because, I mean, I got a 76-year-old in infinite banking policy a couple of months ago. If health makes it not possible, they can get it on a wife, they can get it on a child, they can get it on, there's business partners, like there's ways to do it. My question will be, why not? And then when you really understand what an infinite banking policy is capable of doing for yourself, there's zero reason for you not to have one. Zero. You are storing dollars in an insurance policy to utilize it for other things whenever you want it or whenever you need it. At a minimum, it should be a replacement of your savings account. And I'm saying at a minimum. It should be your and account. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? So if you do, I'm going to ask from your checking account or from wherever you got money coming from, and you're sending money to stocks, you're sending money to gold, you're sending money to investments, you're sending money to whatever. Why is it not flowing through a line of credit, HELOC methodology first, and into a banking policy where that dollar is capitalized for you first before using it for other things? And if you don't understand what I mean by that, then yes, you really need to understand what it really means to practice the infinite banking concept in your life. You're not too sick, you're not too old, you're not too blah. I don't make enough money. Not true. I think maybe this is a aha moment, maybe, hopefully, that, yeah, you're right. I should be doing it myself. I need to flow monies through my infinite banking policy so that it helps me with my legacy, so that it literally works for me in two places at once, so that it creates a flow of dollars for myself. I'm tired of the bank controlling everything. I want to be my own bank. The more you understand the more you're going to know exactly what you need to do. It's not a gimmick. It's not some fancy way for insurance guys to sell more life insurance. Dave Ramsey will tell you that. The heart of the infinite banking concept is about control. You are a slave to the system of banking and Wall Street. Do you want most of your money working for you or flowing away from you? If you can create a system where that money is flowing towards you and you're recapturing those dollars, even if you're using it for other things, if you really want that system, it starts with velocity banking, I'll give it that, but it really ends with an infinite banking type policy. A dividend paying whole life contract that the money's forever compounding for you, even if you're using it to do other things with it. It's forever creating more and more and more. You see, guys, in my almost 20 years of teaching that concept, not quite, about 18, I've seen many, many things happen. When you understand it, you're going to regret two things. Man, I wish I would have started it sooner. Doesn't mean don't have to start now. You should start now. Oh, and I wish I would have designed the policy to have the ability, like I want you to hear that, to have the ability to store more capital in it. Doesn't mean you have to, but when you understand it, you're going to want to. And when you really grasp that, yeah, you're like, I should have done this a long time ago. And the more you understand, the more you're going to learn exactly what to do. I realized that the checking account is the biggest freaking scam. The worst financial product ever created. Want to know why? Because it controls us. Why are we putting our money there? Because it's easy. Right? We're lazy. Ah, I don't want to move money from here to there. Are you kidding me? I remember those days. Hey, open up a checking account here. You get a free toaster, right? Now we get emails from like Chase Bank. Hey, refer a client to us. We'll give you $100. So that lead for them opening up a new checking account is worth $100 to the bank as a lead. I want you to think about that. They're paying $100 a lead because they make a whole lot more on those dollars that are sitting there. Why? They're not a charity, guys, like, right? Like, because they're going to make a whole lot more money on those dollars going into those checking accounts. So let's get uncomfortable. Unpack the cash flow in your life. And I mean this, like, we all should have an infinite banking policy. We all should have a HELOC or personal line of credit or business line of credit. And then it's about using those tools the right way.